Good evening. Today is Tuesday, December 1st, 2020. I am Heather Peckley, clerk for the City of Manistee. The City Council's December 1st, 2020 regular meeting being conducted remotely where all members of the City Council are in separate locations and not at the City Hall Council chambers will be called to order by Mayor Roger Zelensky shortly. As always, this meeting is being recorded and will be broadcast on Manistee TV cable channels 189 and 190 and available at manisteetv.org. City Council and City staff will have video and audio available for this meeting. Members of the public will be audio only. The microphones of all members of the City Council, the City Manager, City Attorney, and City Clerk will always be live unless there's an audio disruption. Mayor Zelensky, we are ready to proceed with the meeting.
Thank you, Heather. I'll call the meeting to order. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Bachman.
Here.
Councilmember Beaton.
Here.
Mayor Zelensky.
Here.
Councilmember Sipsick.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski.
Here.
Councilmember
Seriously, here.
Grabowski. Councilmember Grabowski. You're muted.
Okay.
There you go. Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Here.
City Manager.
Here.
City Attorney.
Here.
Deputy Clerk.
Here.
City Assessor.
Here.
DPW Director.
Here.
Finance Director.
Here.
Planning and Zoning.
Here.
Police Chief.
Here.
Fire Chief.
Here.
City Engineer.
Here.
Roll call complete.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none. Citizens comment on agenda-related items. Each person waiting in the virtual waiting room will be called individually by the last four digits of their telephone number. Individuals will be asked if they have a comment or if they wish to pass. It's very important that those giving comments have a good phone connection and no sound or noise in the background. Otherwise, there will be a disruptive audio. If the issue cannot be corrected by the caller, we'll move on to the next person in line. We'll now take public comments. The meeting discussion topics for those who don't have an agenda are: on the consent agenda, there's approval of minutes, cash balance, revenue and expenses, and notification regarding next work session. Other agenda items: mayor and city manager appointments for council committees, consideration of a purchase of a 2020 Ford Interceptor, police interceptor, consideration of ordinance 20-10 amending chapter 1060 garbage and rubbish collection and disposal, consideration of budget amendment 2021-1 for fiscal year end June 30th, 2021. Consideration of improving an extended bio-solid land application contract with Biotech Economics Incorporated of Beulah, Michigan to perform land application for wastewater treatment and plant biosolids. Consideration of a temporary activity permit for North Channel Brewery to allow for additional outdoor seating capacity. Consideration of applications and boards and commission. Heather?
Okay. As I ask, I'm going to be asking you to unmute. In order to do so, you'll need to press *6 once I ask you to unmute. First up is members of the public, Nicholas and Erica.
I think we're good. We'll pass.
Okay, thank you. Next is Thomas O.
Pass. Thanks, Heather.
Give me 1 second. I have to rename somebody. Telephone number ending in 2541. Do you have a comment or would you like to pass? Okay, thank you. Telephone number ending in 8194. Do you have a comment or would you like to pass? Telephone number 8194, do you have a comment or would you like to pass? One more time, telephone number 8194, last chance. Do you have a comment or would you like to pass? Okay. Telephone number 9908, do you have a comment or would you like to pass?
Pass.
Telephone number ending in 8890, do you have a comment or would you like to pass? Telephone number ending in 8890. Telephone
Oh,
number
yeah,
eight.
this is Ron Ford from North Channel Brewing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Do you have a comment or would you like to pass right now?
I'm not sure what I'm supposed to comment on.
This is just public comment. I didn't know if you had a comment right now. I will
I
mute
do.
you and we'll move on.
I do not.
Okay, thank you. That is it, Mayor. We're all set.
Thank you, Heather. Consent agenda. All items marked with an asterisk are on the consent agenda and considered by the city manager to be routine matters. Prior to approval of the consent agenda, any member from council may have an item from the consent agenda removed and taken up during the regular portion of the meeting. Consent agenda items include approval of minutes, cash balance, revenue and expenses, notification regarding next work session. At this time, council can take action to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. Kubetsky.
I'll support it, Bachman.
Have a motion to support. Any comments, discussion? Seeing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bachman,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton, Yes. Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
I can't really hear you guys. I'm lagging on something. I don't know what's going on.
We're on the consent agenda. Just taking a vote on the consent agenda right now.
Okay. Yes.
thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Schmansky,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac. Yes. Motion passed.
Thank you. Unfinished business, we have none. New business. Mayor and city manager appointments of council committees. At this time, the mayor could take action to make various council committee appointments. There are two committees that we have to have by ordinance, and that is by charter, and that's the ordinance committee and the audit committee. On the audit committee would be Linda Beaton, chair, Jim Grabowski, and Mick Szymanski. The ordinance committee will be Mick Szymanski will be the chair, Jermaine Sipsick will be on it, and David Bachman. On the alternate for area youth, and we contribute to the alternate for area youth, so we should have somebody on that board, is Aaron Martin Pontiac. Gas and Oil Investment Board, myself, Aaron Pontiac, and Ed Bradford. Local Revenue Sharing is myself, Roger Zelinski. MRA Board, Mick Szymanski. 911 Board Authority, Chief Glass. Sands Park Control Board, Linda Beaton and Jeff McCula. Now, the utility committee, we've never used a utility committee, and I think by ordinance and by council policy, council guidelines, I don't have to appoint anybody to that committee. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Saylor.
No, I believe you're right.
Thank you. So I won't be appointing anybody to that committee. I don't believe I ever remember a time that we used it, so I don't think we need to have it. With that, At this time, the city manager could take action to make appointments to the council personnel committee. Mr. Taylor.
Yes, I'd like to appoint Mayor Zelinski, Councilmember Sipsick, and Councilmember Grabowski.
Okay. 2 items completed. Consideration of the package of the 2020 Ford Police Interceptor. The Manistee City Police Department maintains a fleet of police vehicles to actively service the city. To replace one of the police vehicles totaled out in an accident, it is determined that the purchase of a 2020 Ford Police Interceptor is needed. Harold Ziegler Ford Emergency Vehicle Products has been identified as the only car dealer who currently has inventory available to fit the police department specifications. At this time, council could take action to authorize the purchase of a 2020 Ford Police Interceptor from Harold Ziegler Ford Emergency Vehicle Products for the price of $47,063.71. Is there a motion?
I'll make
I'll
that
make a
motion.
motion.
Bachman.
Bachman made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second
it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question. Is there any insurance or are we self-insured as far as replacing this vehicle?
Councilmember Szymanski, this is Ed Bradford. We have a stipulated value on our police cruisers. I believe it was $42,000. So they pay that amount regardless of the value of the car. And I also believe that they pay to switch over the equipment from the old car to the new car.
So I would assume then that this is pretty close to a break even for the city?
Yeah, roughly.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bachman,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Are we voting on the cars? I honestly, I can't hear anybody because everybody's talking.
yes, we are.
I just got kicked out and so I didn't hear what we were on. Okay, yes.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Consideration of ordinance 20-10, amending chapter 1060, garbage and rubbish collection and disposal. Recommendations from the ad hoc refuge committee has been approved by the city council and are currently being implemented. The city attorney has proposed updating language in chapter 1060 to reflect needed changes. As an ordinance, 2 separate readings are required. If this ordinance is introduced at this time, it could be adopted at the next regular meeting. At this time, council could take action to introduce ordinance 20-10, amending chapter 1060, garbage and rubbish collection and disposal. Is there a motion?
Grabowski, I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Szymanski.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bachman,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
We lost her again. She just cut out.
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Mayor, do you have, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mayor, but do you have a problem with me having Councilmember Sipsick call in from her phone so she can still attend the meeting that way? She won't have video.
I have no problem.
Okay, I'm going to send her the information.
You want us to wait a minute?
No, go ahead. I'll get her on though as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you. Consideration of budget amendment 20-21 for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. The city of Manistee is required by state law to ensure that actual expenditures do not exceed budgeted amounts. Over the course of the current fiscal year, unanticipated and under budget events and council approved expenditures have occurred. The proposed budget amendments address expenditures associated with these events to ensure compliance with state statutes regarding appropriations. Mr. Bradford, could you kind of go over those changes for us?
Certainly, Mayor. The first item is for the general fund for the police, and it relates to the recovery of the car that went into the river recently. They had to rent a crane to get that out, and that's an expense that they don't have the ability to cover within their existing budget. That was for $2,400. The second item is the fire department. They had a tire blowout on the aerial ladder that caused some damage to the wheel well in the body, and most of that was covered by insurance, but it's about a $10,000 expenditure that they need a budget amendment for. Next item is Public Works. When we sold the old cold storage / recycling site in the industrial park, we increased the price to recreate that cold storage area over on some city-owned property on Veterans Oak Grove Drive. Previously, council had approved that sale, and the price included $27,000 to relocate the cold storage. So that's what this budget amendment addresses. General Fund DPW, we've been working for years to close out a underground storage tank site, and there was a few bills that were last year that did not get forwarded to us that came through, and there's also some additional monitoring and some work to get that closed out for this year, and that was not anticipated in the budget. We thought that would have been done last year. There may be some of this money that's still reimbursable through a grant. DPW Director McCula is checking on that. So this budget amendment is for $10,000, which will cover those old invoices and any work done this year and possibly a little bit of additional work. Refuse fund, there is a budget amendment for $114,000 in capital outlay, and that's to cover the cost of constructing the 5 dumpster enclosures, 3 in the DDA or 2 in the DDA and 3 for the city and the parks. We're going to be fully reimbursed by the DDA for the dumpster enclosures there, and the refuse fund will be paying for the other dumpster enclosures. Fund 275 grant management. We need a budget amendment for the tennis court grant project. When we approved that last year, it had not been anticipated in the fiscal year 2020 budget, so we had done a budget amendment at that time. But we had also said that it was probably going to span into the 2021 fiscal year, which it's done. So the total amount that we're spending on this project doesn't exceed what we had initially anticipated, but a portion of it is now in fiscal year 2021. For the capital improvement fund, last year we had budgeted about $75,000 for a new electrical service and transformer and generator over at City Garage. Due to COVID and other reasons, that didn't get started until this fiscal year. So that money remained in fund balance, and this budget amendment just moves it into fiscal year 21 so that project can get completed. Another capital improvement fund items, there's quite a few here having to do with some of the projects that we bonded for with the capital improvement bond. That bond wasn't anticipated in the original budget and finalized, and but it was subsequently approved by council and let. So these budget amendments just put a placeholder in the budget for the amount that we think those projects are going to cost. Some of those are in the process of being bid and will be partially constructed this year. Others might not be, but we wanted to put them in just so we had them in case there was any engineering work done. Projects are the shoreline erosion riverwalk repairs, the 5th Avenue flood mitigation, North Riverwalk upgrades, fire station structural and parking, fire station roof, waterworks building roof, and city hall roof. And those are all paid for out of the capital improvement fund, or at least accounted for out of the capital improvement fund using bond proceeds. Next item are water projects, again, paid for out of that capital improvement bond. And there's a number of projects. Some of these are going to be a couple of years out, but there's possibility that we might incur some engineering costs. So I wanted to include those in here. So that's the Jackson Van Buren Water Main Loop, Quincy and Cleveland water main loop, Washington Street water main improvements, the M55 bridge water main relocation, painting of some water towers on the interior and exterior, well house roofs, and an 8th Street water main. And finally, we have some sewer accounts. Part of these were funded by the capital improvement bond that we let, and the other ones are going to be funded by the USDA Rural Development Phase 2 bond that we expect to close on hopefully by the end of January if everything goes well, maybe early February at the latest. And there's, again, M55 bridge sewer main relocation, Quincy and Cleveland Street sanitary sewer, and then the wastewater treatment plant improvements phase 1 and 2. So that's what those budget amendments cover.
Thank you, Mr. Bradford. At this time, council could take action to adopt budget amendment 2021-1, the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. Is there a motion?
Szymanski, I'll make that motion.
This is Beaton. I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion or questions? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Councilmember Bachmann.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Consideration of approving an extended biosolid land application contract for Biotech Economics Incorporated of Beulah, Michigan to perform land application for the wastewater treatment plant biosolids. The current contract has with Biotech Agronomics Incorporated to land supply biosolids from the wastewater treatment plant will expire April 5th, 2021. Bids were requested from land appliers with only 2 bids being received. They were from Michigan Agribusiness Solutions of Saginaw, Michigan, Biotech Economics Incorporated from Beulah, Michigan. Biotech submitted the low bid with ranges from 0.0358 to 0.0402 per gallon, compared with Michigan Agribusiness range from 0.0575 to 0.0625. Biotech has done a good job land applying the city biosolids in the past. It prefers to continue our working relationship with Biotech Economics Incorporated due to their quality, performance, knowledge of our processes, and the low bid. At this time, council could take action to approve the extension of the land application agreement with Biotech Economics Incorporated for an additional 5 years. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion, Bachman.
I'll second.
Szymanski,
I have a motion and a second. Is there any questions or discussion?
I have one question. What will the cost increase be to the city per year from the current contract to the new contract?
This is Jeff McCullough. That's a difficult question to answer because the volume that we dispose of each year fluctuates. So we've been averaging about 1 million gallons per year. And this spring, I believe the number was about $845,000 or 45,000 gallons. So it's really based on the sewage flows that we have in the city and how much of that, it's really called sludge, activated sludge, that has to be land applied. So Rick Moore bid this out. He's the treatment plant operator and the deputy director of utilities. And he actually worked with Eagle to find out all of the companies that do this type of work within the state of Michigan. And there's only 2 that are located in the state, 2 that are located out of state and will come into Michigan, but they generally don't come this far north. So I think that the numbers that were submitted are pretty favorable to the city. And that's why he's recommended just extending the contract because their pricing is so advantageous.
Okay, with that said, is there any expected budget increase from last year to this year?
No, I don't think so. I think we've been anticipating in our budgets that there's going to be that annual increase. And when we do these 5-year contracts, it really makes it a little bit easier for us to budget and anticipate that there's going to be a 0.5% or a 1% increase. Honestly, the unknown is whether or not we have more gallons this year than we did last year. So that always fluctuates, but we've been doing pretty well for at least the past 5-6 years and haven't needed to amend our budget.
And the work that we're doing with the sewer system, is expected to reduce the matter solid waste or bio waste, or is it basically going to stay the same regardless?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because what we've noticed is that because of all the cleaning that we've been doing for the past 2-3 years, the volume of solids that have actually been flushed down to the plant and have to be digested has increased. So I believe that once we get through all the lining projects, that we actually should see some sort of reduction in that volume.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Councilmember Bachmann.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Consideration of a temporary activity permit for the North Channel Brewery to allow for additional outdoor seating capacity from December 1st, 2020 through May 1st, 2021. North Channel Brewery is requesting a temporary activity permit to allow for additional outdoor seating capacity on city sidewalks. Temporary activity permits must be approved via City Council. This permit would allow for North Channel Brewery to be able to continue business through the COVID-19 pandemic. The additional space would allow for business operation to continue and to provide customers with a safe, social distance outdoor dining experience. The North Channel Brewery is requesting the temporary activity permit from December 1st, 2020 through May 1st, 2021, at which point they would be allowed to operate under GP-47 commercial use within the city right-of-way permit. Temporary activity permits are allowed via the zoning ordinance section 522 and section 507. Before we get into this, Mr. Taylor, is there somebody who could explain exactly what they're wanting to do there?
I'll defer to Mike Sokola. He's been handling this matter. Mike, if you could offer some input.
So currently the city has a policy called GP-47 that allows for outdoor seating that as long as they meet certain criteria and they get a permit. The North Channel Brewery has this permit, but there's a limitation on the time that it can actually take place. The temporary activity permit, if granted, would allow for them not only an extension of that time period through winter, which is not normally something we see, but they'd also put a additional seating out there to try to socially distance as well as continue their business operations. There are certain criteria that are involved in it, such as heaters, which haven't taken place before within that area. We also have Ron Ford here from the North Channel Brewery that can answer any of your questions if you guys have the need to do so. I do recommend that because the heaters were not part of their original permitting that I'm aware of, that just the fire department does take a look at those and approve them as part of any kind of temporary activity permit that we grant.
Thank you. Mr. Saylor, do we need to amend this motion at all to include that, or do we just go with this?
You're muted, Mr. Saylor.
You're muted.
I did that to avoid any feedback. No, I think that the motion as has been made, I think covers everything that you need.
I think you said it's okay to move forward.
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you. At this time, council can take action to approve a temporary activity permit for North Channel Brewery to allow for additional outdoor seating capacity from December 1st, 2020 through May 1st, 2021. Is there a motion?
Szymanski, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just have a question before we vote. If we amend this, would this apply to all the restaurants?
Is that to me?
Anybody who's capable of answering.
Yeah.
So when I talked to Mark Miller, the DDA director, one of the things we discussed was before we brought it forward to you guys was, is there any other restaurants that are willing or would like to take part or participate in granting of an activity permit? I think that he was not able to, or there was nobody that had inquired about it. However, if moving forward, if another business were to come forward, we would, reasonably try to grant that for him as well.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just
Good.
the ordinance that we're passing isn't specific just to North Channel. It could be to another restaurant.
Councilmember Beaton, I think it is specific to
It
North
is specific.
Channel. If there was another business that would also want a temporary permit, you'd have to
Okay.
come back to council.
All right.
Okay.
Now I get it. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay, is this, Mayor, is this a tent that they're putting up around the building or what?
Mike, do you have anything?
No, I don't believe a tent was part of it. I could default to Ron and just ask him, but as far as the plan that I'm seeing, it's an open air outdoor seating with, I believe, hold on, give me 1 second, but there is
I'm looking at the plans here and I didn't see the tent mentioned.
9 propane heaters that are going to heat the outside area for guests. So I don't believe at this time there is a tent in that permit as well. So it just should be outdoor seating.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bachmann,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes,
Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Consideration of applications to boards and commissions. The city clerk has taken action to advertise vacancies on the Board of Review, Compensation Commission, Harbor Commission, Historic District Commission, Tree Commission, and Zoning Board of Appeals. Mayoral and manager appointments require a motion, second, and council voted support. Nominations for council appointments do not require a second. After all nominations are made, council votes on nominees until one nominee receives majority support. The following applications have been received. The Board of Review. There are 2 vacancies, one term, a regular term, ending 12/31/23, and 1 term alternate ending 12/31/23. Applicants shall be tax-paying electors in the city who are owners of property assessed for taxes in the city and at the time of their appointment are neither elected nor appointed officials of the city. This is a council approval. I just might add that Gerald Paul He's been a regular, he's been a alternate for for a few years, I understand. So just consider that when making your nomination. Is there a nomination?
This is Szymanski. I would like to nominate Gerald R. Haw for the regular vacancy. He's at 421 Cedar Street.
Thank you. Is there any other nominations for that regular term? Hearing none, please take the roll.
Councilmember Bachmann,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
yes,
Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Now we have an alternate ending 12/31/23. Is there a nominee?
I'd like to nominate Erica K. Starkley or Hawkins at 5 McGill Street for the alternate position.
The alternate position ending 12/31/23.
Correct.
Thank you. There's no other nominees, no other requests, so please take the roll.
Councilmember Bachmann,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
yes,
Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Harbor Commission, we have one vacancy, term ending 10/31/23. 2 members can be non-residents but must own real estate or a business or profession having a licensed business located in the city council appointment. Is there a nominee? Is there anyone who'd like to nominate George Becker to that position?
I'll nominate Mr. Becker to the Harbor Commission.
I'll second it.
We have a nomination for George A. Becker of 565 Bryant Avenue for the position ending 10/31/23. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yeah.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Councilmember Bachmann.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Historic Commission, one vacancy, term ending 2/28/23. 1 member is desired who meets professional qualifications for archaeologist, architect, architectural historian, or historic architect. This is a council appointment. Is there a nomination?
I'll nominate Mr. Hawkins for Historic District.
We
I'll
have
second it.
Mr. Hawkins nominated from 5 McGill Street to the term ending 2/28/23. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Councilmember Bachmann.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Tree Commission, there are 4 vacancies, all the terms are ending 12/31/23. This is a mayoral appointment. I would like to appoint Sam Corman of 615 Broad Avenue, the term ending 12/31/23. Is there support?
I'll support.
I need a second.
I'll second it, Grabowski.
I have support in a second. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Bachmann,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schmansky,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. I'd also like to nominate Gerald R. Hall, 421 Cedar Street, to a term ending 12/31/23. Is there support?
Support.
Support or second.
I have support in a second. Please take the roll.
I'm sorry, who was the second on that?
Samansky.
Thank you. Councilmember Bachmann,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schmansky,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. I'd also like to appoint Catherine Frederick for the term ending 12/31/23. Is there support?
I'll support.
Second, Bachman.
I have support in a second. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Bachmann,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Zelinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schmansky,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. We're moving on to concerns and comments. Citizens' comments. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment on municipal services, activities, or area of city involvement. Citizens in attendance via phone shall be recognized by the city clerk for comment limited to 5 minutes. Letters submitted to council will not be publicly displayed, will not be publicly read. Every person in the virtual waiting room will be called by the last 4 digits of their telephone number. And Heather, go ahead with that. If you want to move on to staff and council members after that, that'd be appreciated.
Okay. Telephone number ending in 4175. Do you have a comment?
Yes, Heather, I do. This is Mark Miller, Manistee Area Chamber of Commerce, 414 Cedar Street. Just want to thank the council members for their support of North Channel Brewing's special use permit. It's very helpful. We hope that if there are any other businesses, they will come forward, but we have not heard any interest in that sort of activity yet. So we'll keep you posted on that and work through Mike and staff for that. One following point, just want to correct for the record, Mr. Sokola very politely called me the DDA director. I'd like that stricken from the record. The DDA is a team approach from the chamber, and all referrals should be made to Stacy Bytwork, the president, for that. So, but anyway, thank you all for your continued support of the business community. It is very helpful to have that as we attract new businesses and projects. Thank you.
Telephone number ending in 2541. Do you have a comment? Telephone number
No
ending
comment.
in, no comment. Thank you. Thomas O, do you have a comment?
Pass. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. Nicholas and Erica, do you have a comment?
No.
No, we're good. We'll pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ford, do you have a comment?
Yes, thank you very much for having us on your panel tonight, and thank you for
Could you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, this is Ron Ford from North Channel Brewing. Our address is 86 Washington Street. And thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to officials and staff. City manager,
Nothing at this time.
city attorney,
Nothing, Heather, thank you.
finance director,
Nothing. Thanks, Heather.
DPW Director,
Nothing. Thank you.
Police Chief,
I have nothing. Thank you, Heather.
Fire Chief,
Nothing, Heather. Thank you.
City Engineer,
Nothing, Heather. Thank you.
City Assessor,
Nothing, thank you.
Planning and Zoning,
Nothing, Heather. Thank you.
Councilmember Bachmann,
Nothing, Heather. Thank you.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes, I have one item. Pat Williams is a longtime resident of Manistee, and she was a teacher in our school system and on the tree commission. And she passed away a couple weeks ago. I was thinking out of the box that it would be a nice thing to commemorate her service to the city if we planted a tree. And I was wondering if Jeff had could help me with that.
Councilwoman Beaton, I support that 100%. She actually was one of the founding members of the Tree Commission and poured her heart and soul into that. And so
She sure did.
I support that concept, and I'd be happy to work with you to find out something appropriate.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeff.
Councilmember Sipsick,
Nothing. Thank you, Heather.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Martin Pontiac,
Nothing, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Szymanski,
Well, I'd just like to thank the Public Works for the good job that they did getting the leaves cleaned up. I think you've pretty much gone through the whole city cleaning up the leaves. And I know that a lot of people will be very thankful that they're not going to be plowed into their yards this year. So great job doing that. And then second thing is there was a meeting with the Municipal League earlier. I think Mr. Taylor, you may have said on that about the stabilization conference, the stabilization plan. And they were asking for letters from the city in support. I just wondered if we had anything in that respect that we were going to provide.
I haven't been able to do that yet. That'll get done this week.
Okay, but we are going to support it with that letter.
Yes.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, can I add some comments to Councilman Szymanski's, please?
Absolutely.
So I've actually had a number of you reach out to me and ask about the status of the leaves. And we started the leaf pickup process as we do every year. What was very unique this year is that they all seem, or the majority of them seem to fall within a 1 week period. And by good fortune, we had warm weather that week. So a lot of people got their leaves out on the street at the same time. So as of today, we've actually completed 2 complete circuits of the city where we've removed all the leaves from the streets. And we will continue to do that for at least this week and probably into next week. And I would like to thank the councilman for guaranteeing that we won't have snow for at least a couple more weeks.
Don't hold your breath.
It's recorded, Your Honor.
Mayor Zelinski,
I just want to thank the DPW for their continued work of downtown. The downtown is looking great. I wish everybody, I hope everybody stays safe. I am concerned about the increase in coronavirus. I know we're all doing the best we can. Let's continue to look out for each other and we'll get through this together. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion
to adjourn.
We have a motion, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening and stay safe.
Thank you.